Hey, it's AP, and today we're making a dresser. Check it out. My wife has been asking for a new dresser for a while now. The one that she currently has is about 15 years old, and it was picked up at a discount furniture store, so it's made out of pressed wood, and it's falling apart. So for her birthday this year, she asked for a new dresser, and of course I said, well, yes, honey, I can make you that. Now, I didn't design this. I figured I'd let somebody else do the heavy lifting for me. So I went on over to Fix This, Build That, where host Brad, I don't know Brad's last name, but host Brad designed a beautiful tall dresser, which I used for this particular project. I'll leave a link to those plans in the description below where you can go and purchase them for yourself. Now, before we start chopping wood, I want you to hit that subscribe button so you can be notified the next time I upload an awesome video like this. Are you done? All right. Let's go cut some lumber. Since I didn't want to rent a truck, I had the lumber store cut my plywood down to 2-foot by 8-foot sheets that fit really nicely into my Forester. This made life so much easier. To cut these down back in the shop, I used a saw guide and my circular saw. Because I'm paranoid and I want this to be a really nice piece of furniture, I put painter's tape down over the cut line to help reduce any splintering. This was probably overkill, but better safe than sorry. After everything was cut down to a manageable size, I finished everything up on the table saw. Now that all the plywood is cut down, I'm going to move on to chopping up the pine, and I'm just going to use my compound miter saw to do all that. This is pretty straightforward stuff, so let's get to it, and then I can start actually building this thing. I used the premium pine for this to make sure I got the straightest sticks possible. So the primary pieces of the drawer, or the dresser, the dresser, are all cut. Now before I start assembling it, I want to run a rabbet down the backs of the legs to give me some space to put a nice backer board and tie it all together, the back of the dresser. Now you can run a rabbet a couple different ways. If you have a dado set, you can do that. Pretty easy, just one pass with the dado set and you're good to go. But I'm just going to do my regular thin kerf blade here, my finish blade on the table saw, just because I don't want to, take it out, put the dado in, then take the dado out and put this back in. If I was going to be running a bunch of things on the table saw that needed a rabbet, then I would absolutely swap in the dado set. But I'm only doing 2 of these, so that's it. This is simple. This is easier this way. So I need to run, it's going to be a 1/2 inch. So this is what it's going to look like. I got my 1/2 inch down, 1/4 inch over. I set my blade height for 1/2 inch and then ran my 2x2 through. I then set my blade for 1/4 inch and adjusted my fence accordingly. You rascally rabbits. This whole construction is going to be done with glue and pocket holes. So I'm going to start with the sides, and I'm just going to put in pocket holes at every, 6 inches or so, which will give us a nice tight bond between the pocket holes and the screws. And we'll drill those in directly into the legs. All right, so let's, I'm first going to measure these out. I've decided that it's good to pick a side. So in this case, this grain side is going to be the exterior because this side actually has this seam down it, which I don't think is going to look too sexy on the outside. So that's why it's going on the inside. All right, so this is where we want to actually drill our holes. Now, if you haven't seen my video on how to set up your Craig pocket hole jig, then I will leave a link to that in the description. This is a great tool. I'll also leave a link for you to purchase it because no weekend woodworker should be without a pocket hole jig. All right. Now, to aid me in this, because these are long boards, I'm going to put some scrap 3/4 inch down on either side of the Craig jig, just to give me a little bit of extra support as I'm doing this all up. Now that all the pocket holes are bored out, I'm going to start attaching the legs with 1 1/4 inch screws, pocket hole screws. To do what I need to do, I need a couple things. I need my glue, I need my screws, and I need some spacers to elevate the side here. And oh, look at that. I'm using Millennium Falcon magazines as shims. All right, so I'm just going to put this down for a second. So I'm just going to use some of my stringers as spacers here. And so I have my front, my back. Let's put that one there for good measure. And then now it's important that these are flush. Otherwise, you're going to have a hell of a time putting in the drawer, what are they called? The drawer things. Yeah, the drawer things. Today's episode is sponsored by the folks over at Basecamp. Now, I use the Basecamp M+ dust mask to keep my lungs free and clear from all the junk that goes up into the air after cutting wood or sanding models and props. The M+ dust mask has adopted EAPI technology and advanced nanotechnologies, meaning that the 6-layer filters that they use can filter out 99.4% of pollutants found in pollen or exhaust or dust particles and even smoke. These masks are also adjustable for the optimal fit. You just put it over, loop over the ears, and then they Velcro in the back. And they have this cool thing called the AEB system, which uses a strap to keep the dust mask in place without slipping off your head and face while relieving pressure on your nose and ears. They're also great for folks who wear glasses like myself. I have my contacts in. There's a flexible bridge to help seal the mask. Plus, the one-way valves are over 25% more efficient in exhausting heat, water vapor, and carbon dioxide. How cool is that? The main mask is washable, and the filters inside are super easy to replace. The super cool folks over at Basecamp are giving the first 500 US subscribers an 85% discount on their M+ Dust Mask 2-pack. So head on over to bit.ly/APBC85 and enter code BCMask85 at checkout. Head on over there right now and take advantage of that offer. Thank you, my friends at Basecamp. All right, now back to your regularly scheduled program. Pro tip, if your pocket hole bit didn't go all the way through, use a chisel or a flathead screwdriver to clear out the hole to help keep the seams tight. The clamps help keep everything nice and tight while screwing this together. Without them, the glue may make the wood shift, causing alignment issues. To install the tops and bottoms, I used glue and then 3/4 inch brad nails fired through the back to minimize holes. Now, I took the advice of the instruction and used cove molding for some accenting here. It really does class this up a lot. To get the tightest fit possible, I cut to size, measuring each piece against the previous one. After dry fitting everything, I glued them all in place, holding them down with 3/4 inch pin nails. Oh, another pro tip, make sure you wipe any excess glue with a wet rag so you have a good surface to work with once it comes time to staining. The bottom of the dresser is pretty much the same process. This is also the point where you need to start keeping track of the front and back. The front stringers are the pine, while the back are the plywood. I fixed my imperfections with some plastic wood, then lightly sanded everything with a 120 grit sandpaper. Alright, now we're going to assemble the carcass. I laid the sides on my table to make this process easier, but to be honest, I don't think there's another way to do this. The top front and back stretchers should be flush with the top of the side, and the middle stretchers are set to leave a 7 1/8 inch gap to allow for the top drawers. Once you have one side complete, just place the other side on top and work from below, following the same measurements. Okay, let's get this upright. The back is just a piece of 1/4 inch plywood. I flipped the carcass over to make installation a breeze. I used 1-inch brad nails to hold it all in place. All right, I'm in a good spot now where I can start staining the main box of the dresser. For this, so our furniture in our bedroom is all black, whether it's stained black or painted black, and so we're going to stick with that theme. And I'm actually going to be using, for the first time, gel stain. I've never used this before, but it says it's rich, deep color, no drips or runs, ideal for vertical surfaces, which I have some of those right there. So I have high expectations for this because, well, why shouldn't I? So let's crack this open, stir it up, and start applying the stain. Okay. While the stain dried, I used the time to make the drawers. Drawers are literally just big boxes. Super easy. I do recommend some sort of clamping here though to help get a good glue bond. The bottoms are made with 1/4 inch plywood cut to size. All right, now we're at the moment that I've been dreading. Well, one of 2 moments that I'm dreading. First is installing the drawer slides, and then next we'll be installing the actual drawers. Why am I dreading this? So, honesty time, people. This is not the first dresser that I've built. I built my personal dresser a few years back, and it was when I first started getting into woodworking, and I was a little overambitious with my project, and I really struggled with getting the drawer slides to line up correctly. And so even to this day, the drawers don't seat properly within the dresser. So I'm hoping that by paying attention to the cuts better, measuring twice, cutting once, making sure everything is level, making sure everything is square, that will solve some of the problems I had the first time I did this. But I'm still a little anxious about putting this together. So I've watched a lot of YouTube videos as well on how best to do this, and I reached out to my friends over on Reddit who were very eager to jump in and provide some guidance on how best to install these drawer slides. So let's jump to it. When installing the slides, you also have to take into account the thickness of the drawer face and the offset. To get this measurement, take a scrap piece of 3/4 inch birch and place it at the offset. Then use your combination square to mark the depth. Now you can use that depth to precisely place the sliders. The bottom slide should sit 3.5 inches up from the bottom, which is the width of a scrap 1x4. The subsequent slides are 6 5/8 inch. I simply cut down a piece of scrap plywood to the size. The top drawer slides are 2.5 inches up from the stringer. Spacers are your biggest friend here. The bottom drawers sit 1/2 inch up from the bottom, so grab some scraps and lay them out. Now this is where you really need to pay attention to the instructions, as spacing is super important. I screwed up the first time and didn't realize my mistake until I got to the last drawer, so pay attention. Once the first drawer is secure, the subsequent drawer spacing is 1 1/4 inch, so a piece of 3/4 inch plywood and a piece of a 1/2 inch plywood, if you have it. Just go slow, measure twice, screw once. To hide the plywood edges of the drawer faces, I used some wood veneer. This is a super easy way to get a nice looking edge on your plywood. I'll do a tutorial video on that in the next few weeks. Some stain and polyurethane, and these will be ready for prime time. The poly and stain are now dry. Look at how shiny that is. Ooh. On the false faces of the dresser. So now it's time to attach these to the drawers. Another moment of high anxiety, because this is where I'll actually see if everything's lined up correctly. My friend over at Fix This Build That, he's not really a friend, I just liked his video, has this interesting tip where he uses playing cards to get the spacing for around the false face. So I'm going to give that a try. It's something I've never actually thought of before, but there should be a 1/8 inch kind of gap around the entire false face, and but this will help me kind of really get precise as to my space. Did I say space a couple times there? Probably. All right, so let's give this a whirl, and fingers crossed it doesn't. Fingers crossed that everything fits perfectly. Okay. This playing card method is awesome. Now just tinker with the number of cards until you have an equal amount of space around each face. To attach the pulls, I found the center of the top drawer and marked the middle. And to do the lower drawers, I just used the top drawer pull as a guide and went straight down so that each side would be even. The dresser top is assembled to fit, like the molding on the sides, just getting my cut marks while everything is in place. And there it is. This came out so much better than I expected, and most importantly, my wife loves it. Or at least she pretends she loves it. Big shout out to Brad over at Fix This Build That for designing these plans in the first place. They are super detailed and very informative. So if you plan on creating your own dresser, head on over there and buy those plans because they are just, they're perfect. They're great plans. So thank you, Brad. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and leave me a comment below. And if you're tackling this project, feel free to ask me questions. I'm more than happy to answer questions about my journey and process in building this awesome dresser. And until next time, stop planning and start making. Thanks for watching.